Testing, 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 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. 1, 2, 2. And we should be live for American Truck Sim, Las Vegas Express. American Truck Sim, and just talking about whatever. I love this song. The NinjaBaka guy, huh? So, let's jump into our American Truck Sim. The schedule, what is the time now? It's 9:30 in Australia, East Coast, which is 1:28 in the morning if you're in Stockholm, 7:30 at night in New York, and 4:30 at night in LA. So I do the same time 3 times a week. What is in Australia Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if you're in, say, New York, that would be Sunday night, Tuesday night, Thursday night. Is that right? Monday is Danny Rick Delivery Day. We talk about mostly F1 and motorsport. Wednesday is Angry Bus, where we do Bus Simulator 18 and just make fun of the passengers, basically. And Friday is today, and we solve the world's problems. Now, where did we get up to? We got our level 10. We expanded our garage, didn't we? We passed on a truck. We bought this truck, and we're doing a lumber job. That's where we're at. So, what is the plan from here? Obviously, we want to get another truck, but I think I'm going to grind another couple of levels, and then might look at buying a trailer, depending on how much the trailers are, because we really want to buy another truck. But I sort of want to keep 100,000 in the bank. So we kind of need to get up to 250k to buy another truck, and I'm not sure how much a trailer costs, because it's kind of been a long time since I played this game before I restarted this series. So let's do some driving, eh? I'm still in the 2 jumpers. It's raining here today, so there may be some background rain noise.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, 5:57 AM. I think I sorted out the map before, did I? Where are we going? We've been through there before. We haven't been to here, but there's no unlockable anyway, so. And we've got some lumber on board, haven't we? Yes, we have. Oh, it's a double trailer. It's going to be a lot of weight, huh? I'm not sure which truck I prefer, really. The Volvo or the Kenworth, these sort of newer models. We drive on the right side of the road, don't we? Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, of course, I may have just got used to the Volvo. Mind you, this chassis, because we're sort of a higher level, we've got a better engine, and We've got the 6x4. Oh, imagine how much that actually weighs, huh? So what conversation topics shall we go through today?
Turn left.
Well, I thought I'd start maybe with some... Hey mate, what you doing? You work there? I might start with some... starting to see a lot more buses in these games. In American politics, because I saw the Joe Rogan podcast yesterday with
Get ready to turn right.
a journalist. I forget people's names because, you know,
Turn right.
there's only so much you can remember, isn't there? But he was, or does, or was covering basically Antifa, the riots they have in Portland, and he got beat up by them. And it was a pretty interesting. Podcast, really. You know, one of the problems now with the invasiveness of social media is, say, in Australia, we're starting to get a lot more effect from American politics. So there's a lot of people in the last election talking about the way they're voting, and it had a whole lot to do with what's going on in American politics. You know, and there's not all that much of a correlation between the two, but the discussion of the issues and what people are worried about and the things that are really annoying people seem very much to do with the current state of American politics. In some ways, that makes sense because the trend, I guess, in countries like Australia does sort of tend to follow the American trend. It's just somewhere between 5 and 20 years behind. But that gap is narrowing now. But you know, we don't really sort of need that sort of conflict here. It's not justified, but people kind of want it or are worrying about some of these issues that are not relevant, just because where they get their information from is very much American sources.
Go straight on. Keep right.
So it was very... It's a pretty interesting interview because, and this is what the guy was saying too, in the mainstream media, you're just not getting good information about facts. So, you know, what is this Antifa group? What's it really about? And what are their core beliefs or policies or whatever? No one sort of talks about their ideological, and this goes for a lot of groups, their ideological core. Everything's sort of very much simplified. I mean, the fact they're called Antifa, meaning anti-fascist, is kind of ridiculous because well, their methods are much like all totalitarians. Let me change. All totalitarians operate in the same way. It's just, okay, they'd have different ideological principles that they want to enforce on people. But they all want to operate the same way. You know, the only difference between jackbooted Nazi thugs and Antifa is, at the end of the day, what it is that they want to force onto people, but their methods is kind of the same. And I'm sort of with this guy that he thinks people should be more worried about it than they are. And one of the things that sort of annoyed me a little bit, you know, annoy is a strong word. Say Joe is sort of saying, you know, with the people who go to these Antifa marches, a whole lot of them, he says, they're probably there for the right reasons, they just don't understand the root ideology. And, you know, they're not really perpetrating the violence, but they're sort of in this mob.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Keep right, then exit right. Okay. What's going on here? Okay, so this is blocked off.
Exit right.
Oh, it'd be cheeky to go down there, wouldn't it?
Okay, let's find a new route.
So, but he's sort of making an excuse, I guess, maybe to try and keep people on side. I don't know. Sort of making an excuse for the people who were there but not perpetrating the violence. But to me, those people are they are the enablers. I mean, if, say, you consider the Nazi Party, did everyone in the Nazi Party think, yep, we should round up Jewish people and put them in ovens? Probably not. But there was a whole lot of people in the Nazi Party who just went along with whatever was going on. You know, the silent majority in a totalitarian organisation has a lot to answer for. Because basically the way I look at it is, well, there was, okay, if there was 10 thugs, there wasn't 1,000 bystanders. There was 1,000 people who enabled that. There's 1,000 people who stood by and let that happen. Which to me is worse. That you know, they let that happen, they even give them support, hide them, whatever. That's, you know, that's being an accessory. That's like driving the car in a bank robbery, or helping a murderer move a body. You know, you're an accessory. You're not just a bystander. I can bypass the way station, good. So yeah, and there's altogether not enough coverage of really drilling down into the facts. I mean, when you start attacking a journalist for simply reporting what's going on, and there's a lot of sectors of the community that are guilty of this. You know, maybe I'll come back to this some recent events in Australia with regard to the press. But when you're attacking journalists for just reporting what's going on, and then other journalists are excusing that, that's a pretty shoddy state of affairs. I mean, people have a right to protest, people have a right to put their opinions across. But this is the anti-totalitarian thing. You just don't have a right to force people to accept your ideas intellectually through violence and threats of violence. Every totalitarian organisation does that. If you go back and look at the actions of Christian churches, well, fundamentalist Muslims today, fascists, Nazis, Stalinists, whatever it is, this is what they do. You know, it's like they get out the old, get out a copy of George Orwell's book and say, you know, how should we treat people again? Oh, that's right. What we've got here, crushed cars, is it? Huh, that's cool. So yeah, so this poor guy is basically goes down to GoPro the riot, gets the shit beaten out of him, and here's the thing: the police are letting these things happen because the politicians have told them they can't interfere. This is crazy. You can't be having two laws for different people, you know? And this is why you have to... This is why, unfortunately, you sort of think there's some people who deserve to not have the protection of the law. But once you set that precedent where there's some people who you can say don't have the protection of the law, then it becomes a matter of, well, who do we now apply that to? So even though you might sort of go, look, all pedophiles should not have the protection of the law, people should be able to just beat them and murder them in the street. It's one of those things, the first cut is the deepest. As soon as you enable a class of people to be created that don't have the protection of the law, it's no different to anything. This is no different to freedom of speech or anything like that. It's that mechanism. As soon as that mechanism exists, the question becomes, who does that apply to next? So if I said to you, look, we're going to remove protection from the law for pedophiles, you might go, yeah, that's fair enough. And this is the first class of people ever that, you know, doesn't have the protection of the law. You go, yeah, awesome. Let's round up some pedophiles and dish out some justice. But then we sort of go, what happens when we apply that non-protection of the law to, say, journalists who report on facts that we don't like being reported on? You say, oh, hang on, we didn't sign up for this. I was all for the, you know, beaten up a pedophile, but what are we attacking journalists now? You know, this is why libertarians are so worried about the first enaction of mechanisms.
Keep right, and then exit right.
As soon as you have a law,
Exit right.
as soon as you have a mechanism by which you can restrict free speech,
Turn left.
then it's just a matter of applying it to somebody else. So this is how you sort of wedge an issue. You pick an extreme example that you think everyone's going to go for this. And, you know, I'm all for targeting terrorists and terrorist groups, that's for sure. But that becomes an excellent wedge to have certain mechanisms in place. You know, we have these mechanisms to invade people's privacy, to restrict their freedom, restrict their free speech, do all sorts of things. And the way that we created these mechanisms was, look, we're concerned about terrorists. And everyone said, yep, I'm concerned about terrorists too, that's fine. But one day, let's say
Go straight on.
Antifa extremists start taking more elected positions. Do you want those people deciding whether you now meet the criteria of someone who's outside of the normal protections of a civil society? I don't think so. I mean, people should be worried. It's not that long ago. If you look at, say, Europe, one of the things that creates change is economic problems. And especially in the States, you know, there's some economic problems. It wasn't that long ago where there were fascists running Italy, fascists running Spain, Nazis who are essentially fascists running Germany, and the world was at war. And there was Stalin in the East. No one wants to live in any of these regimes, and no one thinks they're a good thing for mankind. You know, anyone who thinks that Stalinism was a good thing for the people of Russia is mistaken. It was possibly a necessary transition from that of being imperial slaves. So they went from being, you know, stuck with a monarchy to stuck with a communist government. I mean, look how long it's taken them to free themselves of those two shackles, and, you know, how free are they in Russia? I don't know. You tell me. But, you know, you would rather live now than in the time of Stalin, that's for sure. So you know, the fabric of society can be on a knife edge. And one thing that's entirely predictable, and this is what really annoys me sometimes, where for instance, in New Zealand, there was a massacre involving a couple of mosques. People said, how could we ever predict that this would happen? Well,
Get ready to turn left.
in Scandinavia, they had a madman
Turn left.
who killed a whole lot of people. They weren't for the most part Muslims, but that was his primary concern. They're reactionaries to Muslim terrorist acts. Now, the thing about reactionaries is they're entirely predictable because they are reacting to what's going on at the time. So, no one could ever think that this would happen. Well, a whole lot of people have been sort of surprised it took longer.
Turn left.
You know, someone's going to be a bit of a lunatic. He needs a motivator. And he gets one from the fundamentalist terrorist side of the world every day. You know, it's one of those things. It may not be understandable for people that someone could do it, but it's entirely predictable. And the same thing's going to happen in the States. Extremists on either side are going to create reactionaries. I mean, the ideological base of Antifa is really pretty frightening. I think one of the frightening things about it is that, hey horses, you could see,
Keep left and then turn
you
left.
could see it getting some traction.
Turn left.
You okay, lady? Jeez. Let me just go across 12 lanes of traffic with some lumber on here. Am I going to make that? I think I'm going to make that. Easy. Nice.
Go straight on.
You know, I mean, you've got to remember, Orwell's work, 1984, is sort of based on communists. It's not based on fascists. He'd hated them all. Imperialists, fascists, communists. You know, that is the struggle of man, isn't it? It's against totalitarians. There's something horrible about saying you're going to force somebody to think a certain way, force them to say what you want them to say. Because to not even have freedom in your own head, you know, is just such a horrible thing. And with the actions of certain new media companies, where you get a press that's sort of taking a side, the ideology and willingness for violence of Antifa, and the whole lot of people who are prepared to sort of stand by and do nothing, you're baking a cake there that's a leftist totalitarian cake. And no one wants a slice of that cake, let me tell you. The Americans are worried about China, but their threat at the moment is coming from within, in a lot of senses. So yeah, people sort of think that those things that have happened in the past can't happen again. But you go down the same roads and you expect different results. Yeah. So if I was in America, I would be worried about this, and I'd be all for anybody who's talking some sense. I mean, there's to get the wipers going full on here.
Go straight on.
Oh, hang on. This is one of the things I don't understand about politics now, is people want to break into two groups. And then everything has to sort of fall in line, and they're diametrically opposed groups. And then you join one of these two teams. But that's just a nonsensical position all the time. I mean, I'm sure it's easier for people to get elected and get things done when they can just break up into teams. Say, well, I'm on the green team, so all the green team people vote for me. But it's sort of like tools, you know. Political ideas, socio-economic mechanisms, ways of doing things are tools. You know, you open your toolbox and you've got a Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. And what people are doing now is they're either sort of saying, we have Phillips head screwdrivers, and the other team say, we have flathead screwdrivers. And so now I'm going to solve everything that needs a screw, we're using a Phillips head. You go, but what if it's a flathead screw? We believe in the Phillips head, mate. The other team says, we use flathead screwdrivers. You go, but it's a Phillips head screw, I'm using a flathead. And then in their toolbox they've got, someone's got a TIG welder, and someone's got an arc welder. You sort of go, I'm going to weld this aluminium, you're going to use the TIG? No, we only use the arc welder. Okay, what? Well, we don't believe in the TIG welder. It's ideologically, we don't believe in it. Ideologically, we go for arc welding. You know, one team has a hammer, one team has a saw. Well, ideologically, we use a hammer, not a saw. But I need to saw this piece of wood. Well, use a hammer. You can only use a hammer, you can't use the wood, mate. You can't use a saw. But that's how stupid it is. That is how stupid, not just American politics, but American politics. That's how stupid it's become. Lakeview, huh? Well, they need some lumber here, that's for sure.
Turn left, and then turn left.
Ooh, this place is like a horse paddock. That's cool.
Turn left.
Or buffalo. It's a buffalo paddock? Do people have buffalo paddocks? Do they eat it?
You have arrived at your destination. Your route guidance is now finished.
You know, the thing is, sometimes you need a Phillips head screwdriver and sometimes you need a flathead screwdriver. Oh, just a bit too far, huh? We're going to get to 11. We are. Workhorse. Yeah, good on me. Just in time delivery, I'm not that fussed on, to be honest with you. Oh. There we go, we'll go for that one. Okay, how much have we got cash-wise? 148,000. Let's get ourselves another job. Coming straight out of Lakeview. Where haven't we been in Oregon? Coos Bay. Okay. Newport, Oregon. I think we just came from there, didn't we? Elko, Nevada. Burns, Oregon. It's only a little tripper. $34 a mile. Carson City, Nevada. $28 a mile. Medford, Oregon. $40 a mile. Got an hour to get there.
Time to hit the road.
It's just up the road, so we're fine. Hey mate. Still on lunch. It's 2 o'clock, mate.
Turn right. Turn left. Get ready to turn left.
Yeah, we'll do.
Turn left.
Right outside the old level crossing there, eh?
It was a nice ride.
It was a quick one, wasn't it? Road market, GPS, take us a job. Oh, okay. going to be a big trailer, isn't it? Very good. Swing wide.
Turn right.
Man, this is a long road. Right, let's have a look. Oh, yeah. Very good. Let's check out the map, then we'll get back to talking about whatever it was we were talking about. We've been through there. We've been through Medford. Oh, there is an unlockable. We'll need fuel anyway. We'll go here, then we'll get the unlockable. That's what we're going to do. So yeah, what we're talking about. The tools. So sometimes you need the Phillips head screwdriver and sometimes you need the flathead. And why are you going to sort of ideologically stop yourself from using a Phillips head screwdriver? You know? Some things make sense in terms of being collectively based. Some things make sense being based on the individual. Why would you just exclude yourself from one of those two methods? Because you want to have some sort of ideological dogma. You know, there's no excuse for dogma. You can't have absolutes. It just doesn't make any sense, you know. And because of this idea of taking sides, people just keep excluding themselves from options. Now, for example, a public healthcare model makes sense. And it's typically cheaper in the long run. It just is. Not just cheaper for the user, I mean cheaper for the state. If you're going to provide people with healthcare, I mean, what is the point of having a state if you're not going to have healthcare? There's a whole lot of people who have to oppose it because they say, well, that makes me a socialist. And it's sort of, not really. It's just a tool. How do we organise this? How do we organise this where we sort of get the result that we need to have? It's fair and it's economically viable. Where does ideology come into it, mate? Do you want the right answer or not? And that's just for so many issues over there. I mean, Antifa are essentially anarchists. They want a left-wing anarchy. This is the punk rock dream. It doesn't make any sense. The reason that they sort of, for some reason, people think that what it is that laws are keeping people down. So if we didn't have any laws, if you didn't have anyone telling you what to do, you know, so they're not really left wing at all. I mean, you think about it. People say, well, they're not fascists because they're not right wing. Well, they're not left wing. I mean, they're not socialists because they want to get rid of the state. This just doesn't work. These people want to get rid of the state until somebody's trying to kill you and take your stuff. Then all of a sudden, oh, we should collectively organise. Well, we did this for 200 years, mate, and you didn't want it. Sometimes I think the people who are the organisers of these sorts of things, they just want to try and make themselves important in terms of history. They just want to have an effect, whether that effect's positive or negative. They just want people to remember their name. This is what Christopher Hitchens was saying about the Clintons, wasn't it? I mean, the Clintons are sort of heroes of the Democrats, but they couldn't give a crap what sort of politics they were on, as long as they were winning. I mean, they brought in some of the most right-wing policies ever. But they're a hero to the left. This is exactly what Hitchens was saying. It doesn't stack up. These people are just there because they want to get their ass on a seat. And they pick a side based on how they think they're going to get their ass in that seat. So yeah, I'm with the guy where he's saying people should be more worried about this, like to not be applying the law to these people and all that type of stuff. It's just not a situation that you can have. I mean, in the United States of America, what should be the beacon of free thought in the world, you know, America kind of needs a back to basics of their constitution. It's sort of all been muddied by people's ideologies. Oh, we've got to get past this logging truck, eh?
Go straight on.
ETA 604. Yeah, okay, we're okay. I can't even remember, what is it we got a load of?
Go straight on.
Gypsum. Why not? Let's really get that unlockable when we get there. Can I make it? Oh, it's a tough call, isn't it? I don't want to be stuck behind this guy for the rest of the trip. $25. Oh, slow down.
Get ready to turn right.
This is what it's like in Tasmania, where people have to drive massive trucks through little places. We're gonna have to go wide here. Sorry, it's a long load, guys. Don't mind, do you? Yeah, so talk about restrictions. In Australia we have what we would call, I guess, a right-leaning government, now that everything has to be sort of broken up in that way. And yeah, we're having some freedom of the press issues. There was just an election. It was amazing. There's this whole lot of stuff that happened just after the election. And when they start really going after people
Turn right.
when someone is a whistleblower and it's a genuine whistleblower, you know, that something wrong is going in here, I work here, and this is obviously wrong. It's not just a little thing, it's a big thing. So, what do? Well, they go to the press anonymously, and the story comes out. Now, when that story is valid and it turns out that you've been doing something wrong, to me that is akin to somebody at the Antifa rally saying, no, I'm not here for the violence, and trying to stop it. So when you start punishing those people, you're punishing the people who were the good men who didn't stand by and do nothing while something wrong was happening. There's got to be protection for people for coming out and saying something is wrong when it is wrong. You know, here they say, oh, it was contravention of the Official Secrets Act. Some of these things, they make them a secret because it's either a complete blunder or it's wrong, but they don't want people to know about it. So we've made this decision that no, we don't want people to know about it, so we'll make it a secret. You come out and say, this is wrong. You say, oh, you broke the Official Secrets Act. There should be a penalty for making something that isn't secret a secret just because it's, you know, not what people want you to be doing in their name. I mean, you go around and start raiding journalists' house and doing all sorts of strange things because they've reported the facts, and those facts turned out that made you look like a real, I don't want to swear, made you look really bad, and you had to come out and apologise for it, and things had to change. Well, those are the sort of people we should be applauding, not bloody making their lives extra difficult. I mean, there's so many examples of that, isn't there? I mean, the classic example is WikiLeaks. Some of the stuff that they have released is really important stuff. You can't just go around making these sort of things that you know are wrong secrets to avoid scrutiny. You know, when all these things that certain people's emails that come out that are horrific, there really hasn't been any action taken on any of it. But gee whiz, we've crucified the people who released it. You know, is that the sort of society you want to live in? If someone comes out and they blab secrets, and they're genuine secrets, and there's no public benefit for it, we just want to make a news story, yeah, I'm against that for sure, 100%. You know, people who are conducting the business of government, especially international affairs, need to be able to have frank conversations. The whole world doesn't need to know the ins and outs of every conversation that's had by a diplomat.
Go straight on.
You know, if they think Donald Trump's an idiot and then he needs to be approached in a certain way, that's sort of the business of diplomats, isn't it? I mean, there was that case in England of the ambassador just this week. His email has been leaked and he sort of said, well, you know, you've got to handle him in a certain way. Why wouldn't they talk about that? You think you're not going to have to handle people in a certain way? You know, he wants things put just bluntly. To me, that doesn't really mean you're an idiot either. It just means, look, I don't want diplomatic speak. Let's just, what is it that you want? What is it that we want? Can we get there? Yes or no? Let's not beat around the bush. I mean, for a start, when these people become president, especially Trump, who hasn't been in political office before that, do we really expect some person, no matter who they are, is going to be able to be across every issue, every part of every issue? Oh, something happened here, and there's ramifications over there. You've got to know that for everything in the world. No, nobody's going to know that. You know, he might be a complete idiot, I don't know. He's got himself elected as president, though, hasn't he? And if the British ambassador writes an email and says, you know, when you're dealing with him, he's a bit of a pain, he's a bit slow on the uptake on these things, and he doesn't like things sort of delivered in a roundabout fashion, you just got to be blunt when you put it to him. You know, that did not help the world at all, knowing that. That's not a genuine leak, is it? That's just a leak for leak's sake. It's a leak for the sake of having a story. Probably leaked because hopefully it will embarrass Trump. Well, there was no particular issue at stake there, was there? There's nothing that the British or the Americans were doing that was in the world's disinterest. So if that official cable is subject to the Official Secrets Act, then yeah, what good did breaking that do? You know, there needs to be a test. Was this in the public interest to release this information, even though it was secret? In this case, no. Well then, you know, Official Secrets Act, but you just can't keep covering things up and calling them secrets and cracking down on the press. I mean, the bits of the press that need a crackdown at the moment are the people who are just reporting just complete shite. Or the people who are manipulating the conversations that people have. There's no sort of crackdown on them because that's useful to both sides of politics.
Turn left.
Because they like the access. They like being able to deliver their message in that fashion. Here we are at Not Home Depot.
Turn left. This is where it ends.
It's going to be a tough turn, isn't it? Oh yeah, that should be alright. Now we've got to get through the gate with this massive trailer. Let's hope so. Right, we've got to go pick up that unlock, don't we? Pick up the unlock and get some fuel. Where am I? Down here. There we go.
Let's do this.
Can I go straight around this building? It'd be handy if I could, wouldn't it? There we go. Hey, mate. 6:20 p.m.
Turn right. Get ready to turn right.
So yeah, just want to make sure we've covered American politics and Australian crackdown on journalists. I mean, the United Nations came out and said that it was a pretty bad look for Australia to be doing that, because who are we then to complain when
Keep right.
Other countries do the same, you know? And they're right. When Iran's cracking down on its journalists, or China's cracking down on its journalists, when are we going to take the moral high ground when we're just doing exactly the same thing? It's unbelievable. You know? It's the sort of thing that happens in a totalitarian state, isn't it? A theocracy or a whatever. It's the sort of thing both Stalin and Hitler would do. Come on, mate. Jeez. We're turning off down here, is that right? What is going on?
Keep right and then turn right.
Okay, keep right, then turn right.
Turn right. Keep right and then turn right.
I mean, that's the sort of keep right and then turn right. Okay. Oh, still green light, nice. That's one of the things about the Joe Rogan podcast, isn't it? That you so much don't get in news today. I mean, why is it that the only place I'm getting any news is from a chat show hosted by a comedian? It's the only place where I'm getting any decent in-depth analysis that's not completely biased.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
Give me a break, lady. Jeez. Yeah, of all the stories you've heard of Antifa, who have you heard just explain what their ideological backbone is? And if not, what is it that other people are saying? They're just filling the air with nothing all the time, aren't they?
Finding a new route.
in the ute here, the custom pickup. My pickup's bigger than yours. So, yeah, like I was saying, I'm with the guy because you've got to remember just how fragile democracy and civility are, you know? Secular civil society is always on a knife edge. There's always somebody who wants to tear it down because they want only one set of ideas, you know? Whether those ideas are religious or socio-economic or whatever. It's something you just got to be very careful of.
Keep right, and then turn right.
Should be
Turn
Peterbilt.
right. You have arrived at your destination. Your route guidance is now finished.
Very good. Just do a massive U-turn here. Man, the turning circle on this truck is amazing. So, let's go to the map. Quick job, how are we going for time? We're okay. Do one more job and then we'll at least have a look at the trailer. Coos Bay, if there's something to Coos Bay, I'll take it. Just to pick up that last one, let's go. Newport, Salem, what's a Newport? Omak, Washington. Newport. I might take that but change the route to go through here, if that's possible. Used packaging. Not exactly the most interesting load, is it? But it doesn't make much difference, does it? That's stupid.
Time to get the job done.
That's right, lady.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
We're going to have to go right then left.
Keep left. Here we are, safe and sound.
Freight market, please. Your trailer is ready. Down there somewhere. Yeah. Oh, there it is there. Oh, it's going the other way. Oh, well. Okay. Oh, there's a thing there. That's no good. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing, son? What are you doing? It's a lot of reversing.
Ready to roll.
Okay. Let's check out the map. So I really wanted to go through here, didn't I? Oh, it takes us out of our way a bit, doesn't it? Mind you, it cuts off that trip back there. So what if I just put myself through here? Oh, haven't we unlocked this one yet? Oh, but that's in... we haven't been to Ontario either. Okay, that'll do us anyway.
Let's go.
Oh. So, I just have to go and switch something off. Real life is going to take it. So I'm going to go for a break that is going to be like 1 minute. So I'll leave some music on. Give me a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Should we have some music later? I'm not sure. Alright. That's handy. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to put my gloves back on. Oh no. My hands are going to freeze to the wheel. I do have a thing on OBS, you know, I'll be back in 5 minutes. But with the radio in the truck, it's kind of easier just to leave the radio in the truck and walk away if you're going to be just away for, you know, 60 seconds. Oh. Man, this is a popular road, huh? Here we go.
Turn right.
Oh, I regret not putting those gloves on.
And then turn left. Turn left.
Yeah, so we'll have a look at how much trailers cost after we finish this run. We've still got to make ourselves a lot of money for another truck, don't we? I just like keeping a cushion of money there that you can always pay your sort of expenses, you know. So you go, you got enough to buy another truck now. You go, yeah, but I like 100k. Having some sort of liquidity to pay off the loan when it needs paying off and fix things, get fuel. Is there anything that we need?
Turn right.
I think it's going to take us a while to grind up to say 15. Well, it's raining here. It's raining here like it was. When I look at the window, it looks just like the windscreen.
Keep right, and then turn right. Turn right.
Should be able to turn here, shouldn't we? So yeah, American politics. If someone who watches this, right, this is the sort of thing. Someone who watches this might think I'm on the right wing because I don't like Antifa. Number one, I'm not. Number two, I hate this thing of having to mark yourself on right or left. That's exactly what I was talking about with the tools. I believe in using the right tool for the job. End of story. This is one of the problems with two-party preferred governments. You know, as you have in Britain or Australia, because we sort of follow their model, the Westminster system. And that is that for the most part, it's pretty close, isn't it, to 50-50. There's not really a 60-40 split once you get down to two parties.
Keep right, and then exit right.
I mean, there's always
Exit right.
arguing over the details. But let's say on a good day it's a 60-40 split. Or 55-45 between the voting public coming down on one side or the other. Well, in Australia,
Go straight on.
that kind of means that almost half the people aren't being represented when you're making policy and enacting law and choosing how you're going to do things. You know, it's sort of, if it's 45-55 split, 45% of the people don't have their representative giving any input. I mean, I don't vote for, you shouldn't vote for somebody. Of course, you have to vote for somebody because of the system along party lines. And essentially, that's become voting for a prime minister almost. And then people complain when the party dumps a prime minister. But you don't vote for a prime minister. You know, you don't want to have a president or a presidential style election. You vote for a party. Really, you should vote for a local representative, but because of the fact that one party achieves power in this structure, you vote for a party. You don't vote for a prime minister. Wow. What is, whoa. Just got to stop here and check this out, man. God. That's pretty awesome, huh? Might be a nice drive, this one. Hey, mate. So then, take myself, the seat in which I live is currently held by the Labour Party. The member of Parliament, the area in which I live, is a member of the Labour Party. So they get no say in policies, even if it directly affects where I live. It's a somewhat nonsensical system. And then another problem is, because you switch parties when governments change, you keep switching ideologies. So each switching ideology spends its time doing one or two things: implementing its own ideology and trying to dismantle things that relate to the previous ideology. And then the next ones get in and they sort of start undoing the work and redoing the work that was undone by the previous. It's just crazy. It keeps flip-flopping. You know, you don't have the sort of decision-making cabinet that's made up of representatives from either party. It's just, it is essentially unrepresentative, because my local member of Parliament has no power, no input. You know, they have no input. They can talk about policies for the party that can have input into the policies of the party that's not in power. So the way it works isn't very neat at all, really. Now, I'm much more a fan of, say, the Swiss system, some of the European systems. Because what people have to remember when they're considering Australia is we still have a monarch. The Queen of England is still theoretically our head of state. And look, one of the problems with solving that is that you have to mess with the Constitution. And who do you trust? I don't trust either side to mess with the Constitution. But then you're stuck with this system. They're not going to change the system that puts them into power, are they? Come along and said, look, we need a complete rework of how people are elected to Parliament, what Parliament can do and how it's represented. You know, we need to smash this party thing. What? What party is going to implement that? So it's a strange system. It's one of those things about, you know, the United States where you go, man, you've actually got a useful constitution. They're so lucky that the people who wrote the Constitution of the United States were the people who wrote the Constitution of the United States, you know? It's one of those unusual blips in history where you get reliable secularists making up some rules. We're due Monday 3:07 AM. Okay, so we can't dawdle, can we? So yeah,
Keep
politics,
right,
huh?
and then turn right.
God, what are you doing, officer? It's gonna have to put the lights on here, mate, so I can see. Oh, bollocks, he's gotta go the same way.
Turn right.
No, he's not gonna go the same way. Hooray!
Get ready to turn right.
Oh, this will be fun. Are we going up a hill as well?
Turn right.
Ugh. Come on, truck, do your best. It's not too much weight on it, is it? So we're okay. Yeah, politics, it's one of those things, isn't it? The more you try and not take an interest, the more it sort of forces you to. can just get so disheartening. I mean, one of the things I just can't understand is why people are just, there's so many unreasonable people, there's so many people who are just willing to just crack heads for their own ideology. You know, when you look around and see that other countries, you think, man, how bad is that country? You know, man, how bad is that theocracy in Iran? The fact though that you sort of get the same sort of thing in the US and Australia and that, it's just very disheartening. So haven't we moved past that? Can't we ever move past this? Oh, I hope I don't roll the bus here. It's a bit wonky. The bus, the truck, you know what I mean? Holy shit. Slow down behind this guy. Looks like the scenery here would be good if it was daylight. We decided to come up here in the middle of the night. What are you doing, bro? I suppose it's topical we're talking about Portland while driving around Oregon.
Go straight on.
A bit of rain, huh? So yeah, I mean, it's a topic that I want to sort of go on to a lot, really. It just sort of came to my mind because of watching that podcast yesterday. The problem is you start talking about politics and you end up sort of people want to argue about it, don't you? Sometimes I wonder if you get to a stage where there's essentially complete democracy. And what I mean by that is that we've got the technology now where every bit of legislation that goes through Parliament or whatever your equivalent of Parliament is could well and truly be voted on by people. And what I mean by that is everyone in the nation could go in, log into their internet account and click yes or no on every proposition. I've sort of thought about, you could have a political party that ran on that template. What you could say is, well, every piece of legislation, me as your representative, I'll vote how my constituents tell me to vote. And then what happens is, say there's a proposition X, we'll call it, whatever. Proposition X is coming up. You can sort of say, what we'll do is our party will have a default position. Default position on Proposition X is yes. And let's say I have 20,000, actually for sake of maths, let's say I have 10,000 constituents in my seat. 10,000 people that I represent. Well, electronically, the party says we're in favour of this, so we click. The default position is yes. But everyone who's a representative, everyone who I represent, everyone who's a constituent, be they a member of my party, somebody who voted for me, whatever, they can go and set their preference to no. Now, if more than half of my constituents go and set their preference to no, then I vote no, even if it's against the party. So for the most part, people will be disinterested and you'll get the party line. But if people are genuinely interested in an issue, then they'll be able to tell me what to vote. You know, if you could use this platform even if you're an independent, you might say, well, I will set my default position, but if my constituents want to change it, then they can. What's that? Whatever. So then you could have sort of truly representative democracy, couldn't you? But I'm sure that wouldn't be a popular thing for the party, because the party wants to sort of vote how it wants to vote. I suppose it could be the victim of grassroots idiots. But if they can convince enough people in your electorate to change their setting, well then more than half of the people in your electorate have changed their setting by whatever means has convinced them. I think it's actually a pretty interesting. I mean, you would have to. Membership of it would have to be. Oh, brakes. There we go. Look at that, perfect. Even better. Come to a complete screeching halt and then go. What's that? Motel.
Go straight on.
Very industrial up this end of town, isn't it? think for a lot of people, you wouldn't want to worry about it, would you? You know, people are happy to, in all sorts of fields, people are happy to hand over the thinking to other people. If you had to think about every... It's a shame we're not through here in daytime, isn't it? Because it looks like a nice area. Never mind. You know, people are more than happy to hand over the doing the thinking about it, and I think that's even some MPs. I mean, do you reckon they're all reading all of the literature for every bill that goes before them? Or do you reckon they're just sort of, where do we vote on this one? You vote no. Okay. In some cases, it shows the power of the people who get to draft the laws. You know, how much scrutiny once it's drafted does it really come under? By people who weren't involved in the drafting process itself. You know? Do they just go, oh, give me a summary? Oh, well, we do this. Okay. It's the details that get you, isn't it? Oh, we keep getting later and later because we're having trouble sort of catching up to speed. It's the recommended speed through here, 35. Oh, thanks, mate. 35's a dream now. Can I get through here? This is going to be catastrophic, isn't it? Sort of getting a bit worried about finishing this job on time. Instead of being pushed back another hour. Oh no, here we go. Come on, officer. Brake, brake, brake. Cook's Chasm. Oh, yeah. Can't see a bloody thing. How's the scenery? Whoa. Let's go past the police there. Oh, here comes a bus or something. But yeah, the truly representative democracy login. Do you reckon it could work? Keeping it secure would be the hard thing, wouldn't it? It'd just be constantly attacked. Taking some terrible chances here. Taking some terrible chances. Just on these sort of roads, isn't it? It's just very realistic. The road to where I live is like that. You know, once it goes down to single lane, you're stuck behind someone. Man. It's a massive pain.
Go straight on.
You can sort of tell people who aren't locals as well, because it's 100 kilometres an hour. And they're not used to sort of the hill and some of the windy bits, and sort of, oh, they're doing 80, 70 k's an hour. It's kind of funny because, like, on the way up to the start of the hill, you always get people who sort of, oh, it's 100, but I want to do 110. Or, so they get past you and then slow down, you know. But then you know when they get it. There's a certain corner on the way up the hill where you find out if someone's a local or not, because if you're local, you go from 100 to 80 and go around the corner.
Turn right.
If you're not a local, you go from 100 to about 40. Just disappear. Sort of thing. Oh yeah, it's 100, is it? And they get into the corner and go, this isn't 100, is it?
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Oh yeah, this is, yeah, we've been here before, haven't we? Under the bridge. Quick blast to the old horn. It's not like bus sim, doesn't seem to do all that much, does it? Man, it's busy here. 4 in the morning. Are you turning? Nice. Walbert.
Keep left and then turn left. Turn left.
But yeah, I mean, if you're a politician, why would you want to give up any of that power?
Get ready to turn left.
So to implement any kind of change,
Turn left.
it would have to be a gimmick for somebody who's out of politics and going into it. You know, for them to sort of take that on board. But if once they're in there and they're sort of getting told how to vote by their people, for the most part, people are just going to ignore it, not do anything.
This is where it ends.
La 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 la. Yeah, okay, that'll do. Hey mate, weren't you here last time? You work here or are you just loitering? How's our cash going? 162,000. Why don't we go and have a look at trailers? Trailer purchase. I'm kind of a noob on this. 30 grand for a flatbed. 4 bolster logger. This is the kind of stuff you get around near me. I wouldn't mind getting in one of them one day, but the dry van, the chip van. Bulk material. Oh, okay. Container carry. That's cool. Level 12. The old flatbed, eh? 30,000 for a flatbed, 40,000 for a dry van. One axle. If you were a trucking company, what would you get? You would get a flatbed, wouldn't you? You would have to have a flatbed. Customize configuration. Single. Okay, that's all you can do. Flatbed. Flatbed aluminium. You would go for the wood, don't you? I mean, most flatbeds I see, that's what they got. "28 feet. Oh, okay. 32 feet. "45 feet rear. 45 feet 3 axles. Gosh, there's a lot of I like this idea. I like the look of that. The paint job. Oh, it's a bit much, isn't it? I think the grey. Decisions, eh? Decisions. Just trying to picture this on our green truck. I mean, if we use the white's not bad, actually, is it? Actually, I don't mind the white. Do not mind the white at all. Accessories. Markers. Can't see where this is coming out. A little is good, more must be better, right? Chassis front. Support frame. Toolbox. Aluminium box. I like the aluminium box. Rear mud flaps. Nah. Standard, please. Rear tyres. Only the best quality tyres here. Chrome. See, I like the steel look. Warning flag. Rear bumper. Rear banner. Rear mud flaps. Trailer front. Steel wall. Aluminium wall. Okay. That looks like a pretty good flatbed, doesn't it? Confirm. Let's purchase that. Select garage. Las Vegas. Storing garage in Las Vegas, yes. Trailer has been purchased and will be stored in the selected garage. You can access it from the trailer manager. Okay. Now, trailer manager. Trailer manager, use. Do you want to use a trailer? It will be spawned in your garage in Las Vegas. Do I have to go to Las Vegas to use it? Make private. Configure cell relocate. Make private. What does that mean? Does that mean only I can use it? Well, I don't want to go to Las Vegas to use it because I mean wherever the hell it is. It's in the garage. Let's make this public. Well, we've got a trailer. If I go on the job market, okay, I've got to have the trailer attached to go to cargo market. Okay. All right, so we're going to use that trailer. We've got to go back to Vegas. Is that right? Well, that helps us pick a job, doesn't it? Can we fast travel back to Vegas? I think we can. Where can we do that? Do we do it through Garage Manager? We do, okay. Let's travel there. Do you want to quick travel to selected garage? Yes, I do. Then we can use the trailer. Watch, the other lady will take the trailer. Okay, so trailer manager. There. Oh, see, I knew it. The lady's using it. Ah! Okay, so we had to wait for... Let's just make it private for the moment. Okay. So job market, cargo market. Okay, here we go. We've got a trailer. We've got some cargo. We go to Pendleton, Sacramento, Bakersfield, or Flagstaff, Arizona. We've been there. 32, 32, 34, 38. God, that's a long trip, isn't it? Sacramento, California. That looks more like it. Bakersfield, California, 22 minutes.
Time to get the job done. Recomputing.
Are we going to get there in 22 minutes? 56 minutes. We're not going to get there, are we? Cargo market. Do we want to go to Sacramento or Flagstaff? We might just take this one.
Ready to roll.
Just a bit shorter of a drive. Can't see a bloody thing. Perfect. Oh, it's quite a long flatbed, isn't it?
Get ready to turn left.
Still, we got a trailer.
Turn left. Keep left and then turn left.
Back in Vegas, huh?
Turn left.
I think this might be the last run of the day. Yeah, last run of the day. Let's try using your own trailer.
Keep left.
Vegas, eh? Keep left. Alright. Not used to these 4-lane roads.
Exit left.
Hey, what's going on there? Las Vegas downtown. Oh no,
Straight on.
mouse problems. Get distracted here.
Go straight on.
.14 AM. At least it'll be a daytime trip. It's a shame that last trip wasn't in the daytime. Down the 101 or whatever it is. We'll have to go to that bay and down that road again during the daytime.
Keep right and then exit right. Exit right. Turn left.
See you, mate. That's one thing I'd like to do one day, is more of a US road trip.
Turn right.
So it takes a lot of time though, doesn't it?
We are finished.
One of the problems with the proceed to the loading area. Okay, there we go. Oh, trailer backing. It's not my strong suit, I'm not gonna lie. Am I supposed to back this thing in here? There's not much room to turn here, is there? I'm sure a real truck driver could do that. Oh, light's a bit much, isn't it?
Let's do this.
Having that other trailer right next to it's a massive pain. There we go, that's more like it.
Turn left.
Yeah, because with the US, you know, you end up in the wrong area, and it's really a bad area. It's like being in a war zone. And then, of course, there is the thing where just driving on the wrong side of the road, for me, it's a bit of a pain.
Go straight on.
I have driven there. I've got to say I don't enjoy driving there. But typically when you're driving, it's, how should I say? You know, it's sort of more in cities. You know, I really don't want to drive in a busy city there. I drove in Vegas, but major cities and that. Even driving in a sort of city you're not familiar with, and it's on the same side of the road as I normally drive on, it's just a pain, you know? Like, cities are terribly painful to drive around, aren't they? Traffic's too busy. You sort of got to know where you're going a lot of the time, like... And then there's those sort of things that everywhere you go they have their own sort of unwritten road rules.
Go straight on.
Like there's this, whoa dude, what are you doing?
Keep right, and then turn right.
This doesn't weigh too much, this, whatever it is.
Get ready to turn left.
Don't think I'll take the flatbed in there, eh?
Turn left.
I can't remember what we're going to make out of this trip. So to how much attention I paid. Let's have a quick look at that. 10,000. You bring your own trailer. And that's the sort of thing, you sort of, sometimes you take the back roads in the US, you end up in, you know, some really nice rural area. Sometimes you end up in some godforsaken Stab City meth den. Bloody sketchy.
Go straight on. Keep left, and then turn left. Turn left.
It is a cool addition, isn't it, trailers? I'm just a tad unfamiliar with them. Before I started doing this series, you know, I hadn't played this game for so long. Or Euro Truck, you know, for so long. I must remember to check the progress of my other driver, see what she's leveling up, because after she's got a couple of long distance, I want to switch her on to some of the other things. We're having trouble with picking up speed here. Yes, so come on brain, remember to do that. Arizona, so we must have just gone over Hoover Dam, is it? I think it was the first time we went to the States, we did that exact drive from Vegas down to Hoover Dam in a a Challenger, the RT Challenger, the new one. At the time it was new. It was a sweet ride. Got there and it's one of those things that sort of got one of those remote keys and you got to put your foot on the brake to start it. Like never come across that before, never heard of that. I'm sitting there like, this car won't start. So, my missus had to get the manual out of the glove box. Like, you got to put your foot. This dude comes over. Like, guys, all right? I'm like, got no idea how to start this car. Got to put your foot on the brake. Oh, really? You know? Commonplace now for a lot of vehicles, isn't it? Yeah, that was nice. I mean, we went to Vegas in what was the kind of their winter sort of thing. It was nice, the weather then. That's the time to go, I reckon. People I know who've been there in summer, it's like excruciatingly hot. So the good thing is, you know, where we were living at the time in Australia was really hot. So you got out of the Australian summer and into the nice weather in Vegas. Oh, here comes a weighbridge. Knew it.
Finding a new route.
I don't think I need my beacon on, do I? Looks realistic, doesn't it? More things to have. Set me back 40 grand, whatever it is. Because it's going to take us a while to grind up. I think, you know, we're sort of going to have to aim to get to sort of 250,000, which I would guess we're going to be at. You know, level 15-ish by then. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it, that, you know, your truck depot would definitely have a flatbed. I think, you know, you would have a container carry as well.
Keep left and then continue straight on. Go straight on.
You know, what are the things that you would have? You would have a flatbed, you would have a container carry. You'd probably just have an enclosed trailer and maybe a refrigerated trailer. I guess you'd only have the refrigerator if you had jobs for it. And then you would maybe have a specialty trailer depending on where you were at. You know, because they have the log carries, don't they? So, you know, if your garage was in Washington, maybe Oregon, probably going to have a log carry. Whereas if you're in other parts of the country, you know, if you're in Albuquerque, would you be transporting many logs? Probably not. So it's kind of neat, isn't it? You can sort of tailor the trailers to the garage. It's kind of cool. And obviously the priority is really probably to get another truck, expand the garage. Is it better to expand the garage or buy another one somewhere else? It's having the cost of the trucks, isn't it? Oh, we got 150 miles.
Go straight on.
I think we should be okay for the fuel. It might make more sense to buy another one in, say, Albuquerque or something like that. You know, get a sort of 3-car headquarters in Albuquerque, or 3-truck headquarters in Albuquerque and LA or whatever. And then expand the garages sort of later. So what would you have in Vegas? Say you got a 3-truck garage in Vegas. What would you have? Besides a flatbed, the container carry, probably just the enclosed, just an enclosed trailer. I suppose in Las Vegas you're going to need to refrigerate things, aren't you? So we'll see what's available when we get there. Hands are cold. Missing those gloves. We'll give it for our next truck as well. We sort of had the base model Volvo and the base model Kenworth. I suppose maybe we'll go for the base model Peterbilt. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
straight on.
Sort of want to, rather than have a sort of fleet of trucks that look exactly the same, like, you know, a company would, sort of want to have a little go at every truck, don't you? So yeah, I think maybe the next truck we'll get will be the Peterbilt. Both the Volvo and this have been fine, you know, like sometimes, isn't it, you get one of those trucks where you just hate the mirrors on it, or some of the trucks where you look out the rear window to back up, which is how I like to back up, because it's sort of how, you know, how I back up a car.
Go straight on.
And you can't sort of see past the exhaust, that's a bit of a pain. But, the sort of classic style trucks, I am more waiting till I can get the really big engines in them, you know. "36 miles. It was just this the other day. It's a loan instalment. I was looking at truck manufacturers in Australia. You know, they build Mack trucks here and Volvo trucks in Australia, and
Keep right, and then exit right.
there's quite a few truck manufacturers in Australia. And then I thought, well, I suppose it makes sense because,
Exit right.
you know, it's easy enough, isn't it, to container in a car.
Go straight on.
Easy enough to container in a car, but you can't get many big trucks on a ship, you know. So it just must make more sense to build them here. That's cool. Like,
Keep left.
you know, I never realised trailer damage 1%. What the hell? I'm not going to LA. Yeah. So that was interesting. So I mean, if there was ever an Australian truck sim or Asian truck sim with Australia, I could see Australian truck sim though with why not? You know, some of them would be long hauls, that's for sure. But you know, you could have sort of local manufactured trucks. I'm not sure that they're, you know, I don't think they're all that different
Keep left,
from.
and then turn left.
I don't think the Volvo FH16 is that different from the Volvo FH16 anywhere
Turn
else.
left.
But oh, here we go. Stop messing around, mate. To refuel after this as well. there's a fuel stop coming up. Let's see how this trailer fits in the fuel stop. I'm going to apologise in advance. I think we've almost cleared the road. Yes, I mean, you know, that's cool, isn't it? Can't see a thing. Good thing I've got that headache board out there, huh? Might not go for that on the next one. But at least we're refueled already.
Get ready to turn right.
I'm here to lay pipe.
Turn right. It's all over now.
Let's just give it a can't be bothered. Okay, so as fun as that was, I think we'll stick to taking different jobs. So let's go to the trailer manager. There we go. Make that public. Let's dismiss. Yep. Okay, thanks, mate. Now, so do we get another job? So we're just ready to head off on the next episode. Let's have a look. What's in the job market? Freight market. Flagstaff, Arizona. $59 a mile. 97,000 pounds. Oh, can we tow that? That's a good earn, isn't it? That's a good earn if we can tow it. 45 grand. $45 grand, 97,000 pounds. Can we tow that much weight? That might be asking a bit much of this truck, mightn't it? Because it's quite a long trip as well. I think that's going to be too much for us. 30, 40. Oh, yeah, there we go. We'll take that one. We'll take a backhoe. $40 a mile.
Let's go.
Can I get out this way? Let's hope so. There's a backhoe right there. Can I take that one? No. Oh. I don't want to be in the job office.
Right. Turn left.
Oh! Catastrophic. Catastrophic accident. Excuse me. Oh, catastrophic accident. Visit service. Yeah, okay, I will. Okay. I'll have to check the replay on that one. But, yeah, that hurt. That's going to cost to fix too, isn't it? Oh, boy.
Get ready to turn left.
We're going up to the service part here anyway, aren't we?
Turn left.
That was rough. I'm not going to lie.
Get ready to turn left. Okay, let's find a new route.
I might try and look properly this
Turn
time.
left.
I thought I'd had a look, but obviously I'd not.
Get ready to turn left. Turn left.
Or I'd sort of messed around too much. Yeah. Totally doing it.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
Alright, truck maintenance. Desperate need of some maintenance here. Chassis 21%, cabin 17%. It's pretty realistic, isn't it? This thing is messed up. 14 grand. Oh. Oh, that hurt. That hurt paying for that, let me tell you. That hurt paying for that. I mean, what's this next job worth?
Go straight on.
Will do. I'll just shut my eyes and go through the intersection. What's this, the marker?
Turn left and then turn right.
Turn left and then turn right.
Turn right. This is where it ends.
Freight market. Take job. Is that a curb? Who knew, huh? Let's get off the curb.
Okay, here we go.
This job's going to get us 21. So 2/3 of our money is just gone with that accident. Oh, that was a terrible accident. Feels too real. Need to go to a safe space. Okay, so yeah, there's no unlockables there. Let me just check that the one that I'm in. Yeah, no, there's no unlockables there. We're coming down to Phoenix, which is all good. Then we go across Yuma. And we'll have to go there. El Centro. Isn't that a... Where's the song? Oh no, that's El Scorcho. San Diego. So we want to go past here and past here. Coal's bad. Okay, that'll do.
Time to hit the road.
Sure is. There we go. It's pretty normal sort of a load. And then we're going to leave it here. So next week when we pick it up and talk about God knows what, we will go from there. So, where are we? Alright, so let's end the stream there. Good thing that we ended on a high with a catastrophic accident. So who knows what will happen next week.